Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. Call InventHelp today.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-352-1609. That's 1-800-352-1609.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement, and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method, and to get your free report, go to 52security.com. That's the number 52security.com. 52security.com. Go to 52security.com.
Hurt or injured in a car accident? It can be hard to take the proper legal action after a car accident, but waiting can cost you more. The law requires car accident victims to assert claims promptly. You could lose out by simply waiting. Call 800-709-4667 right now to see what your claim could be worth when handled by a skilled attorney. With a lawyer fighting and speaking up for you, you could be entitled to a big cash award. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Now it's fast and easy to connect with the legal help you need after your car accident. Call 800-709-4667. The call is free, but you need to act now before time runs out on your claim. You need a lawyer to fight for you, protect you, and get you the compensation you need and deserve. Time's wasting. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Call now.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
You shouldn't have to pay to talk to the people closest to you, or the people who used to be. That's why Umbrella Wireless is proud to announce the new Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan. Now you'll get unlimited calls to your best buddy, your mom, or Cindy, once she realizes that you're seriously meant for each other and should stop screening your calls. Now the 30 minutes of agonizing silence where you're both afraid to hang up may drain your battery, but it won't drain your wallet. And you'll get unlimited calls just to check if she still cares enough to pick up, with no extra charges. With the Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, your phone will automatically answer calls from your ex, because maybe she finally realizes that you're the only one for her and wants to get coffee sometime. Now, after lonely nights of looking at pictures of the road trip you took together when everything was great, your misspelled texts are absolutely free. The only thing you have to pay for is the booze. The Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, because she wants you back. She just doesn't know it yet.
most politically incorrect black man on the planet, Rod Eccles.
And hello, my fellow Americans. It is I, your lovable host, L. Rod, coming to you live on within my bunkerized home studio somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, where the motto is still to this day, live free or die. It is not big government or bust. It is Monday, April the 20th in the year of our Lord 2015, as we get started on a brand new week. Now, many of you probably do not know that today here in New England was a semi-holiday. And what I mean is that it was something called Patriots Day down in Massachusetts. Now, Massachusetts is, it's pretty much, it's a full state holiday. So government offices are closed. Schools are closed. In fact, this week is the school spring break. The schools are closed. Although I think there's still mail. I don't think the federal government down in Mass recognizes the holiday. So if you're a federal employee, I think you were still on today. But be that as it may, a lot of people around New England had the day off because many businesses also decide to take the day off, especially if you're in and around Boston. Now, the reason for that is mainly because it's Boston Marathon Day. Boston Marathon Day is always on Patriots Day, and the Patriots Day is usually, I think it's the third Monday of the month, so it's always around the 20th or so. Now, one of the things that overshadowed today's event a little bit is today is also 420. Which, if you are a stoner, or if you ever were a stoner, or you know a stoner, 420 means pot, marijuana. And for those of you in Rush Limbaugh's Real Linda, that's marijuana, cannabis. But, so today was the running of the Boston Marathon, and it was 420 Day for all the stoners out there to have their holiday. And but the Boston Marathon, it was a little bit rainy, but it went off pretty much without a hitch. Well, of course, it's going to have a lot of extra security. Now, of course, whenever there's a tragedy that befell, 2 years ago now, and just recently, Tsarnaev, the younger one, Yozar Tsarnaev, was found guilty on, I think, all counts that he was charged with, and they're going to, I think tomorrow they start the process of the penalty phase of the trial, and the jurors will hear the arguments, and they will decide life in prison or the death penalty. Now, there are a lot of people, and I'm really not going to get too deep into this part, but there are a lot of people, of course, liberals, who are asking for leniency and just give him life. No death penalty. But again, we know liberals like, Wasserman Schultz, they're all for killing babies through abortion. They have no problem with that. But I guess if you're a criminal that kills other people, well, they want to keep you around for some reason. I don't know why. Now, this young man, he's very young. I don't think he's, what is he? I'm not sure. I don't think he's older than 25. At least I don't think he definitely was not older than 25 when he committed the criminal act of terrorism a couple of years ago. But I don't think he's still reached 25 yet. So I can kind of understand why some people might think, well, it's terrible to end such a life. But also remember this, it's like Aaron Hernandez. Aaron Hernandez isn't 30 yet. He's like 26 or 28 or something. Going away for life with no chance of parole. Their life is over. I mean, what are they can't, there's very little that they can contribute to society by being locked up. And since they're not going to be able to get out, they're not going to, have any incentive to be model prisoners, really. Just saying. So maybe it is cruel and inhumane to lock up a human being especially at such a young age, and lock them up for the rest of their life without the chance of parole. Now, for Tsarnaev, I mean, he's probably going to have to be segregated all the time that he's in jail. I mean, do you think he's going to really live that long in general population? Criminals are criminals, but criminals are still Americans. And criminals still have a code. Hardened criminals still have a code. If you're a pedophile, you're not going to live very long in prison in the general population. You don't mess with kids. If you're a child murderer or a rapist, you're probably not going to live very long in prison. If you're a former cop, you're probably not going to live very long in prison in the general population. I'm going to say if you are a terrorist that kill Americans and even American kids, you're probably not going to live very long in the general population in prison. So I don't think Tsarnaev is going to be allowed to be with the general population too often because he probably will not live. So again, we're going to have to separate him and segregate him and leave him on his own for 50 years? To me, that's cruel and inhumane punishment because, the liberals always talk about cruel and inhumane punishment. But I think that would be it. And for Hernandez, I don't know. Maybe people think, hey, big bad football player, you gonna tackle me, huh? I don't know what's going to happen with him. He might fit right in. Who knows? He's a big guy. He's not little. But his fame may people will know, prisoners will know who he is. But again, he's gone for life. Now, his attorneys are preparing an appeal. But I don't think even if they win the appeal, I don't think he's going to get anything less than 25 to life. If they win, he's going to spend at least 30 years in prison. So he's going to be in his late 50s, early 60s before he even has a chance of parole to get out. If they win the parole, if he wins his appeal. If he doesn't win his appeal, he's never getting out. But I don't think I really don't think he's gonna. I don't think an appeal is going to win him anything close to an acquittal. People think that he's guilty. I didn't watch the trial. I didn't follow it, so I don't know. I can't converse with you about what happened during the trial and whether or not I think the man is guilty. I don't know. I do know there was one kind of interesting thing in the closing arguments. I guess one of his attorneys, said that Hernandez was there during the murder, but he didn't do the shooting, and that he was afraid for his life. I guess I don't buy that, and I think maybe the jurors, they thought, well, that was kind of a shocker. Why'd you wait till now to tell us? And since you just told us that he's there, you just put him there, so we think he did it, because we don't think he doesn't seem to have the personality to be afraid of other people. And, from what I gather about Aaron Hernandez, from people who played with him, who played against him, who knew him, that would be, they would seem to confirm that he really was a fearless type of person, wasn't really afraid of any one individual. So I don't think the jury bought what his lawyer was saying, and that was probably a big mistake on his attorney's fault. But Tsarnaev is going away. But today was the Boston Marathon Day. And I do believe it was an Ethiopian male came in first and second. And I do believe it was an Ethiopian woman that came in first for the ladies. I've never really been into marathoning. I don't see the joy in putting your body through 25 miles or more of running. Now, the Boston Marathon is I guess just over 26 miles long. But these people run it in about 2 hours. The winners do it. I think that today's winning time was like 2 hours and 9 minutes or something. I mean, that's insane. You got to be running approximately 13 to 15 miles per hour to make it in 2 hours. And, when you consider that the average human walks, the average walking speed of the average human, and with their gait and everything, is about roughly 3 miles per hour. So you got to ratchet it up 10 miles an hour, and that's a lot of effort. You try running 15 miles an hour for any length of time, and you'll see it's not an easy thing. And they're doing this for 2 hours plus. It's an incredible feat of human endurance, but I don't see why anybody wants to put their body through that kind of pain. And understand, when you're running there, look, I ran track when I was in 8th grade, and I was a sprinter, except for 2 times, when it was just it was a team meet, and all it was just a bunch of relays. There were 2 relay meets. And so the track coach at the time decided to turn this sprinter into a somewhat long-distance runner, 880 half-miler. So it was a 2-mile relay that I was a part of the team of. And there were 4 members, 4 of us, and each one of us had a half-mile leg to run. And one of the interesting things about the school that I went to at the time, called Roxborough Middle School in Mattydale, New York, and it's still there. It's called Roxbox. That's its nickname. But at the time, Roxborough had the record for that relay. And our coach fully expected us to win it because the school was the record holder. So he fully expected us to win it. Now, here you're taking a sprinter who doesn't really run long distance, and you're going to turn him into a long distance runner. Well, you got to change the way he runs, and they had to change the way I ran because I tended to run too fast. Now, here was the thing. By the time we got to the meet and we ran the race, we were, from the start, we were ahead. And each leg, I was the third in a third leg in a 4-man team. Now, each leg, we increased the lead. The first runner on the team got us out in front. The second leg, we increased the lead. The third leg, they tried to. What my coach told me to do was to pace myself behind the lead runner and then just sprint out ahead of him halfway around the second leg. Now, the problem is that for me, I thought that was great advice. Just keep pace with him, with the person, the kid that's right behind you. Just keep pace with him. Don't let him get more than a step ahead of you. Just keep pace with him, and then out-sprint him that last half of the track on your last leg, because it's a half mile is 2 trips around the track. And so I'm okay. I'll do that, coach. Now the problem is that I had been taught by my coaches how to run long distance. And the problem it was faster than what that kid in front of me could run. So there were a number of times I almost tripped on him. So I had to pull back. And so finally I just couldn't stand it. About 3/4 of the way, I just took off. There was about 3/4 of the way left around the last lap. I took off. And we increased, but we missed the record. We missed the state record by 6 seconds. Now, by me following that kid, I was off my best time of 7 seconds. We could have had the new state record if I didn't listen to the coach in telling me just to keep pace with that kid. See, one of the things you have to learn is that you have to know your own endurance. You have to know your own ability. And don't let anybody else tell you any different. If you can go at a different pace and keep it up, then do it. Don't keep up at somebody else's pace. But you got to know your limits. Now, I got to tell you, I know my limits. There's no way in hell I'm running 26 miles. Even if I was back there in 8th grade, there's no way I was running a 26-mile marathon. I wasn't going to enter cross country. The school cross country teams, I wasn't doing that. Absolutely not. I look at these kids today, when we're out and about, and they're out there running, practicing cross country, and that's crazy to me. Now, I don't mind running. You run a mile or two, keep in shape. That's fine. But 26 miles? That's a bit nutso. That's putting your body through a lot of stress. It needs a lot of endurance to do that. But I'm digressing. The whole point of this is that we had the Boston Marathon running today. There were no incidents from what I heard. There were no reported incidents. But one of the things that I found interesting and rather disheartening was the fact that they were saying that, in certain areas into the Boston Marathon area, you weren't allowed to bring things like backpacks or blankets. You couldn't bring those things. And that you were subject to search at any time. And there were people on the radio, local radio show hosts, who seemed to think that that was okay and that was a good thing. And that anybody who was against it was a nut job. Now, I'm going to reverse it and say, what are you, crazy? Because you had two jerks, I could think of another name for them, who decided to commit an act of terror and scare the bejesus out of everybody, you are now going to be so frightened that you're going to give up your freedom and your liberty to state control just so you can stay safe? Well, you're not going to stay safe because you are going to end up being a victim of your state. Sooner or later, if you give them too much power. And we're starting to turn over our own liberty and security in order to the state, so we can get some sort of security, we think. The problem is that we're all taught to what? Feel secure. I don't feel safe, or I feel safe. That's a bogus BS argument. Anybody that tells me that they don't feel safe, I say, well, because you're an idiot. And if they tell me, well, I feel safer now, I tell them, you're an idiot. Your feelings have nothing to do with your safety. As a matter of fact, your feelings about your safety, if you feel safe, they could get you hurt or even killed. Because your feelings have nothing to do with reality. I mean, look, I am sure all those people that boarded those planes on 9/11 felt safe. They felt safe getting on board. Were they? No. I am sure all those people down at the Boston Marathon 2 years ago felt safe near the finish line. Were they? Obviously not. I'm sure there are a bunch of people that are running around thinking, well, now we feel safer because the cops won't let backpacks and blankets and people can get, a bum rushed and checked and strip searched at any time. And don't doubt me that that's what they'll end up doing. They'll taking somebody somewhere back to, and doing cavity searches and all that kind of stuff. So people are going to feel, does that make them safer? Absolutely not. But what will it do? It will allow them to lower their guard and allow somebody to sneak in and do something terrible. All because people have given up some liberty in order to feel safer. And you don't get, feeling safe does not make you safe. It does not, it never has, never will. I mean, we had Oklahoma City bombing. All those workers and children went to that building that morning and they felt safe. Were they safe? Obviously not. People go to work every day. We have the term going postal. Well, there's, office shootings and office homicides. People go to work. That day they felt safe being on company property. Were they safe? No. College students, they feel safe being on gun-free zone college campuses all over the country. And yet we have shooting after shooting on college campuses. So really, were those kids, that's what they are, kids, were they safe? Sandy Hook, all the parents thought that their children were safe. Sending them to elementary school, they felt their child was safe. The kids felt safe. The teachers and administration in that building felt safe. Were they safe? No. So don't ever come to me and tell me that you feel safe or you feel unsafe, because your feelings have absolutely nothing to do with the facts. And by your feelings getting in the way, you are allowing our government to take action that they really have no constitutional or moral right to do. Now, I'm sorry. It's terrible. Look, I live here. And it is terrible that the Tsarnaev brothers did such a terrible thing 2 years ago. But you do not have a right because somebody did a terrorist act or committed a crime. I don't care what the crime is. They committed a crime. Big deal. Crime is being committed here all the time in this country. They committed a type of crime that now all of a sudden I'm supposed to give up my liberty, my freedom, supposed to amend my constitutional and God-given inalienable rights just so somebody else feels safe? No. That's not the way it's done in America. We don't do things so people feel better about them. What is this liberal, idiotic notion that we do things in order to make others feel better? You know who's supposed to make you feel better? Your family and friends. I am not supposed to make you, my audience, feel better. I don't know who you are. I care about you, but I don't know who you are. I'm not supposed to make you feel better. You're not supposed to make me feel better. We're supposed to respect each other's liberties. That's the reality. There's no feeling there at all. There is none, zero, nada feeling about respecting another person's liberties and inalienable rights. There's no feeling there. It's just called human respect. And let me tell you something, by allowing your government to do what they did today down in the Boston for the Boston Marathon, the government is basically telling you, hey, you're citizens of this country, but we're not going to respect you. Not at all. And we're not going to respect you because we want to make other people feel safe. Even though that has nothing to do with it. They may have been safe. They may have not have been safe. I don't know. There may have been, I don't know, but there may have been somebody down there, scoping it out for a future of a criminal event. Who knows? But does that make if there's somebody scoping it out? Because we know that there's all kinds of people, like ISIS is on our southern border now. Now they found, camps. Mexico is telling us that there's camps over there 8 miles from the border. So what if they come across? What if they do some reconnaissance? What if they just, they don't go with a backpack. They don't go with a blanket. They don't bring any weapons, and they just go to observe and see everything, how everything works. Do you still feel safe? Well, yeah, you're going to feel safe, but are you safe? No, because somebody's planning your death. That's not safety, folks. But hey, you know what? What did you just do? You decided that since this bombing took place and that you wanted to feel safe and that all this other stuff that's happening out there in the world is kind of existential. It doesn't really mean anything to you because it's not happening here. And, the whole notion that ISIS might be across the border and massing and trying to come over and infiltrate this country by illegally entering and then, going to all these different places and events, massive events, and they're following the rules at the time so everybody feels safe, but they're plotting how to get around them. And I ask you, once they come back and they figure out how to get around all that safety precaution and they commit another act of terror, are you not going to feel safe? What are you going to give up next? All because you felt safe when you weren't.
Daenerys Targaryen. She says she is the mother of dragons. But would you trust her with your kids? Her father was a maniac. She palled around with Dothraki terrorists. She asked the city of Karth for a government bailout. Then she lost 3 baby dragons after placing them in an unlocked wooden box. An unlocked wooden box. This Khaleesi wants to be queen of the 7 kingdoms, but can she be trusted? Daenerys Targaryen. Wrong for dragons, wrong for the realm.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. Call InventHelp today.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-352-1609. That's 1-800-352-1609.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement, and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method, and to get your free report, go to 52security.com. That's the number 52security.com. 52security.com. Go to 52security.com.
Hurt or injured in a car accident? It can be hard to take the proper legal action after a car accident, but waiting can cost you more. The law requires car accident victims to assert claims promptly. You could lose out by simply waiting. Call 800-709-4667 right now to see what your claim could be worth when handled by a skilled attorney. With a lawyer fighting and speaking up for you, you could be entitled to a big cash award. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Now it's fast and easy to connect with the legal help you need after your car accident. Call 800-709-4667. The call is free, but you need to act now before time runs out on your claim. You need a lawyer to fight for you, protect you, and get you the compensation you need and deserve. Time's wasting. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Call now.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
You shouldn't have to pay to talk to the people closest to you, or the people who used to be. That's why Umbrella Wireless is proud to announce the new Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan. Now you'll get unlimited calls to your best buddy, your mom, or Cindy, once she realizes that you're seriously meant for each other and should stop screening your calls. Now the 30 minutes of agonizing silence where you're both afraid to hang up may drain your battery, but it won't drain your wallet. And you'll get unlimited calls just to check if she still cares enough to pick up, with no extra charges. With the Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, your phone will automatically answer calls from your ex, because maybe she finally realizes that you're the only one for her and wants to get coffee sometime. Now, after lonely nights of looking at pictures of the road trip you took together when everything was great, your misspelled texts are absolutely free. The only thing you have to pay for is the booze. The Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, because she wants you back. She just doesn't know it yet.
You know, feeling safe really does more harm than good because it doesn't allow you to actually look around and see if you actually are safe, because you take it for granted that you are safe because you feel safe. So it's really kind of a misnomer for you to do that, to feel safe. I mean, it really is. You know, welcome back, folks. It is I, your lovable host, L. Rod, coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio. Now, I know some of you have asked about, well, Rod, you don't give out your on-air number anymore. And since moving over to the Spreaker network, we've lost the ability to take live calls. But, however, we are working on it, and hopefully by the end of this week, we will have the solution in place, working, so we'll allow live calls again. Besides, you guys didn't call that much anyway, so now all of a sudden, because you can't, you're missing the ability. I get it. You know, you don't have it, so now you miss it. But as long as you have it, then you know that you can do it, so it's not such a big deal. Gotcha. Yeah, I know how the human mind works. I know how you people think. You know, it's kind of like you don't realize you miss somebody until you need them, right? If you haven't seen somebody in a while, you don't realize that you miss them until you need them. And that's when you realize that you fully miss them big time. Yesterday, even on the weekend, I am working for you, my fellow Americans. I am on the move, on the ball, constantly working for you. It's like I don't sleep or something. I don't know. I mean, all that I get accomplished is, I mean, it really, well, I'm amazed about how much I can accomplish in a day. And it seems like I'm going 7 days a week. But yesterday, there's a gentleman by the name of Trevor Loudon. Now, he's a New Zealander, not an Australian, not an Aussie. He's a New Zealander, although New Zealand and Australia are very, very, very close in their government, in their style. But he's got a website called trevorloudon.com. That's Loudon, Loudon.com, and it's called the New Zeal blog. And this guy is, you know, he's a let's just put it this way, he's a big deal. And yours truly was able to sit down with him for about 20 minutes yesterday on a Sunday and do a brief interview, which I'm going to play for you in just in a couple of minutes here. So if you know somebody out there who knows Trevor, then or you know of them, or they want to listen, they should probably tune in. But Trevor Loudon was in New England. He was in New Hampshire over the weekend doing his speech, and he's got a new book and a new documentary coming out, The Enemies Within, and he's basically talking about, you know, what from being a foreigner, an outsider, he's looking inside and seeing everything that we're going through that other countries like New Zealand and Australia have already gone through, and we're heading down that same path, and we don't really want to do it because it's going to be a lot worse for us than it is for them. And he makes some excellent points. But so right now, I just want you to take a listen to the interview, and this is, since being back on the air, this is my first major interview. Now, I've done major interviews before, but this is my first major interview since being back on the air, and here it is with Trevor Loudon.
A lot about you.
Thank you. Yeah, I do believe I was listening to you last week, and you were talking about a lot of things that were changing in New Zealand and Australia as far as the electoral and laws and everything going on down there, down under.
No, I don't think it was me. I'm not sure who that was, but I've lost touch a little bit with New Zealand, I have to say.
Well, that's too bad.
Well, no. Actually, that may be right. Because I did comment. Yeah, it is possible. Yeah.
Now, is there a lot of similarities happening in Australia that's happening here as far as the political winds are concerned?
Well, Australia has a conservative government at the time right now, and it is Tony Abbott by Australian standards, is a very conservative prime minister. But the same liberal education system, the same union power grabs, the same environmental craziness, the same liberalism that's infecting this country is very prevalent in both Australia and New Zealand, probably worse in some ways. You know, both of those countries are way to the left of America in most things.
Oh, wow. And
now, yeah.
Environmental issues, there's environmental issues in Australia?
Oh, absolutely. You know, the environmental movement there, the green movement, which I call the watermelons. You know, they're green on the outside and red in the middle. They do a lot of damage in Australia. They've tied up a lot of mining. They've tied up, really retarded the Australian economy in a lot of areas. And that's very much the case in New Zealand as well. You know, the green socialism is one of the biggest curses of both of those countries.
And has that put a hurting on the Australian and New Zealand economies?
Yeah, well, I can speak more to New Zealand, but like in New Zealand, the South Island is the biggest island in New Zealand. It's most of our land mass, and 60% of it is owned by the Department of Conservation, like your Department of the Interior, perhaps. And they own it, they lock it up, you can't mine it, you can't cut the trees, you can't farm it. And we've got huge natural resources that nobody can touch. And it's like you go into Oregon where they've banned the felling of trees, you know, because of the so-called spotted owl. You see communities in Oregon that are just decimated. And you see the same thing in parts of New Zealand where the livelihood, the mining has been stopped, the forestry has been stopped, and the economy has ground to a halt. And it's pretty damaging. And, you know, we can't mine our gold, we can't mine our coal, a lot of our coal, we can't cut a lot of our forests, and it's really retarding our economic development.
Wow. Now, you're on speaking tour here in the U.S. for a little while. Where are you going to be next? Yep. Today you were in New Hampshire, where I hail.
Tomorrow, yeah, okay. Well, tomorrow I'm in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Then I do some events in Georgia, around the Atlanta area, and up near Dahlonega, Cumming, Peachtree, etc. Then I go over to Southern California for an event in Los Angeles and another one in the Inland Empire, and some fundraising for my movie. And then I go back to New Zealand for a month. And then I come back to the United States for another tour, which will start in Oregon and Southern Washington.
Oh, the liberals are going to be loving you coming in and speaking about conservative values from another land.
Yeah. Well, I've been doing it about 3 years now. I've spoken to more than 400 groups in the last 3 years.
That's impressive. That's wow.
Yeah.
Now, what is your topic this time around during this tour?
Well, what I've been talking about largely is I'm talking about the real threats to America and how it can be turned around. And one of the main things I talk about is amnesty, immigration amnesty, and how disastrous it will be, because I'm an expert on the left. I study the communist movements, the Marxist movements in the United States. And what happened in 1995, the Marxists, Democratic Socialists of America, took over the AFL-CIO, the unions. From there, they effectively took over the Democratic Party. They purged the Democrats of elements who would not support their line. And so what has happened, you look at it back 25 years ago, the leading force in this country against illegal immigration were the unions, because they understood that the legals were unfair competition for union members, would drive wages down. Now the unions are leading the charge to legalize the illegals, because in 1995 they were taken over by Marxists, and the Marxists didn't care about the jobs of their members. They just wanted to promote revolution. So the plan is, and I've got leaders of the Marxist movement on tape, top communists who are working with top Democrats, even up to Obama, stating on tape that the goal of amnesty is to give the Democrats at least 8 million more votes, which will give them a permanent one-party majority that the Republicans can never beat. Then they will have a one-party state controlled by the Democrats, who are controlled by the unions, which are controlled by the Marxists. Amnesty is a power grab for a one-party state. They want to use the votes of the illegals to create a one-party state in the United States. And they say it. They're open about it.
They are getting kind of brazen now. I mean, they're even saying, well, you know, I've heard a lot of them say that the illegal immigrants are still citizens of the United States. Well, not really. That's why they're illegal.
Well, that's right. A citizen, by definition, is a legal person. So, you know, so they just twist the language. They obscure things. But you think of all these union members who pay their union dues to these communist union bosses who are selling their jobs down the river. You know, you ask these union guys, why did your union oppose illegals 25 years ago and now it's supporting them? You ask them to figure that one out. But then I also talk about how we can turn the country around, and what I'm advocating is that conservatives, patriots, get behind a conservative candidate like Ted Cruz in the next election, and that Ted Cruz names his entire cabinet, stacks it full of real good conservatives to appeal to every element of the base, and storms the country. You know, like say Alan West on his VP ticket, Rand Paul is the Secretary of the Treasury, and he can do anything he damn well likes to the IRS and the Federal Reserve. Sarah Palin, Secretary of Energy, you know, drill baby drill, open up your energy fields. John Bolton, Secretary of State, you know, he can flip the bird to Mr. Putin and the Ayatollahs, rebuild the Western Alliance. Ben Carson, Secretary of Health and Human Services, you know, end the welfare culture in the country. Name the entire cabinet, run as a team, mobilize the entire conservative base, which is far bigger than the Democrats' base, storm them, get Ted Cruz elected, and then start gutting the federal government, abolishing departments, and restoring the Constitution and restore liberty to the country. So I'm talking about the major threats you face, but also ways you can turn it around.
Well, I got to say, that is probably one of the most ultimate dream teams in politics I've ever heard of. I don't think anybody's ever thought of that before.
Well, you know, Reagan named his cabinet in '76, but I look back, you know, you didn't have just a founding father to lead your revolution. You didn't just have George Washington. You had a whole team. George Washington and Samuel Adams and Patrick Henry and James Madison and Thomas Jefferson. And they had all their egos and their conflicting agendas, but they put them aside for the sake of the country and the good of the revolution. See, right now, the Republicans, they put up a candidate every 4 years, and the media rips them to pieces. They put one person up to face the entire wrath of the left-wing media. Why not put Ted Cruz with Alan West, with Sarah Palin, with Scott Walker, with Michelle Bachmann, with Mike Lee, with Rand Paul, with John Bolton, with Trey Gowdy, fill your entire cabinet, run them across the team, run them across the country, holding rallies in 3 or 4s in every state, bypass the media, go straight to the people. You imagine how that would excite the base and unify the base, because every element of your base, from the Republicans from the Libertarians to the Social Conservatives to the Tea Party Republicans to the moderate Republicans, everybody would get something. Everybody gets a slice of the pie.
Yeah, they would all have a member in there. That is absolutely true. That's a fantastic idea. I hope somebody from the Republican Party will hear this, because that's a fantastic idea.
Look, a lot of these people, they've heard it all right. This is wrong. We've been putting this out on articles and Twitter and Facebook, and I know that it's got to some of these people. I've talked to some of them about it.
Now, you've got you're planning on, or you're currently filming a new documentary. Is that right?
Yes, it's my last book is The Enemies Within: Communists, Socialists, and Progressives in the U.S. Congress, and it's exactly what it says. It talks about the Marxist roots of Obamacare, of amnesty, of the gutting of the U.S. military, and it profiles 51 members of the House and 14 senators with identifiable Marxist, communist, anti-American ties. And we're going to turn that into a documentary a Hollywood quality, full length feature documentary released about October this year, which is going to name names and pull no punches and looking at the Marxist infiltration of the US government. And it will shock people. It will truly shock people. This is something they have no concept of. But this problem is why you have a centre-right electorate and you have centre-left government all the time, now verging on hard left. So that's aimed for release later on this year. We've already filmed some of it. We're filming the rest of it shortly.
Great, and it's going to be available hopefully sometime later this year?
Yeah, it's going to be October is the target date, a full year before the elections, and it'll be very hard-hitting. We're going to raise most of the budget through investors, but if anybody would like to help, we're doing a couple of little side fundraisers through Indiegogo, the crowdsourcing site. And if anybody wants to help, they can go to Indiegogo, INDIEGOGO, and look for the page Exposing the Enemies Within. Exposing the Enemies Within, and they can make a contribution. We're aiming to get, 10, 20, 30 bucks. We're aiming to get the production budget filled by the end of this month.
Oh, that is fantastic. Trevor, I know that you're a busy person. You got to get going, but I am very glad to have had this time to chat with you. Hopefully we can do it again. I say I just made a new friend. Look,
we're kindred spirits. We are, and we both love the Constitution. You're an American, I'm not, but I think we can connect on this issue for sure. And I'd love to come back.
It's a worldwide thing that's happening now. There is a public-private citizen shift that's moving to the right, but our governments aren't seeming to get that message. And I think it's good that Americans get a chance to hear from somebody with an outside view looking in, because they can see a lot of things that we're missing.
Yeah, well, that's right. You always see your neighbour's situation better than they see their own. But my view is very simple. If America goes down, every Western country will fall. But if America can recover its constitution and restore its liberties, that will spur on freedom revolutions all across the globe. So it's so crucial of what happens in America in the next couple of years.
All right. This is, thank you very much. This is Trevor Loudon, and he is currently on a speaking tour, and he's got a new book coming out, The Enemies Within, and that is going to also be turned into a new documentary that is going to be released sometime in October of this year. And there you have it. I don't know where the beeping came from, but that was my interview with Trevor Loudon. And again, you can go to trevorloudon.com to get all the information you need about his book and his upcoming documentary. I highly recommend it. He's got the website is extensive, and it is full of information. Is full of documentation and facts, and that's a good thing to have. Now, one of the things that he mentioned as I was speaking to him was filling out the ticket when running for the office of president. And I thought that was actually a fantastic idea. Now, whoever the nominee is, he obviously seems to like Ted Cruz. We didn't have enough time to get into the nitty-gritty of things, so hopefully, I'll have him back before the election time, and we'll delve more into why he believes that Cruz or Rand Paul or whoever it happens to be is the right person for us, is the right person for the job. But look, speaking of job, we got Rubio out there right now. Now, can you imagine if Rubio followed the same advice? And if we had Rubio, who was, the nominee, and he just filled out his cabinet, any one of them could do that. And that would put the Democrats at a huge disadvantage. Because can you imagine that if Obama had named his cabinet before the election? I mean, I know the mainstream media would probably protect a lot of those people, but we would have seen people like Van Jones. We would have seen people, I want Hillary Clinton to be secretary. So we would have seen all of that before we pulled the lever. Now, see, that's one of the things that Americans seem to forget. We're electing a president, but we're electing more than a president. We're electing an executive branch of the government. Do you understand that? Because the president gets to determine who the vice president is. They get to determine, who all the secretaries of the various departments are, or the cabinet members, and that's what happens. They're all a part of his team, and they get their directions from him, and they're usually of kindred spirits of like mind. They don't. You're not going to put a person in your cabinet that is diametrically opposed to what you believe in as the president. I mean, that would be like saying me being elected president, but for Secretary of State, I'm going to have Hillary Clinton. I mean, that makes no sense. So understanding who they want to have in their cabinet gives a better picture of the person who wants to be elected to that high office, as well as gives them some ammunition, because you can't fight a war by yourself. So if they're all out there, firing off the same consistent message everywhere, the press can't. The lamestream media can't hide everything. I mean, they can hide what one candidate is saying. They can suppress that or overshadow it or knock it down. But you want to try doing an entire executive branch, an entire cabinet, plus a president and vice president. You want to try hiding all of them, and you gotta, the people that he's named, that would be suggestions for Ted Cruz's cabinet. And none of them are quiet. They all have some very sound, very solid beliefs about the Constitution, about this country, where it's going, where it should go, and none of them are silent. So it would be the press, the lamestream media would be very hard pressed to try to silence them all, because they're going to be out there pounding the pavement daily, everywhere, hitting multiple places at one time. And so it would really kind of spread the lamestream media, the major lamestream media, kind of thin. And it would be harder for them to cover just cover the Democrat. And of course, the Democrat, it would probably have to respond in kind. So we would have a real political presidential fight. And unfortunately, if that happened, it would probably overshadow a lot of the other races, like for Senate, in the House, and governorships and everything. But that's necessary. It is necessary because it's important. And it might bring a lot more people into being more interested in politics. And if you did put all those people on your cabinet, well, now you would have all those other people out there that have their favorite candidate that just will sit home if they're not the nominee. Well, now they have some skin in the game. So all the Ron Paul people, if Ron Paul has been nominated to be this Treasury Secretary, then and his big thing, it really is taking on the IRS and the Federal Reserve. Well, hell, how can those people sit at home if they're going to have the opportunity to get Ron Paul in there to do some of the things that they want him to do in the first place that he says he wants to do? It's going to be very difficult for them to sit at home and not vote then. So I think that is it's a fantastic and beautiful idea. And that is something that the Republicans should definitely consider, no matter who the nominee happens to be, because they can do some real political damage to the left. And that would be a really good thing.
Daenerys Targaryen. She says she is the mother of dragons. But would you trust her with your kids? Her father was a maniac. She palled around with Dothraki terrorists. She asked the city of Karth for a government bailout. Then she lost 3 baby dragons after placing them in an unlocked wooden box. An unlocked wooden box. This Khaleesi wants to be queen of the 7 kingdoms, but can she be trusted? Daenerys Targaryen. Wrong for dragons. Wrong for the realm. Paid for by the Committee to Protect Dragons.
We don't know anything about him.
He was never really vetted. Is he really the true-born son of Robert Baratheon?
All over the Seven Kingdoms, people are asking the same question. Who is the real King Joffrey? The people of Westeros are hurting. Winter is coming. Crop yields are falling, and the price of fuel is going up.
The cost of peat moss is through the thatched roof.
And this young and inexperienced king takes advice from a whoremongering imp and has launched an illegal war in the north. What is King Joffrey hiding? This is not our kind of family values. King Joffrey. What a bastard.
What a bastard.
Paid for by the young Baratheons for freedom. Robb Stark. He's the biggest celebrity in the North. But his father was a traitor. He arrested his own mother. His bastard brother deserted the Night's Watch. And he couldn't defend his own castle. Worst of all, Robb Stark hasn't stopped the wildlings from invading our lands and taking our jobs. He even has an illegal alien for a nanny. And now he wants to be king in the North? King? Some people say he's really a wolf. Some people say he eats dead people. We can't wait until it's too late. Send a raven to Winterfell now and tell Robb Stark to go back home. Stop eating dead people and defend the damn wall. This ad paid for by Crossbows GPS.
You shouldn't have to pay to talk to the people closest to you, or the people who used to be. That's why Umbrella Wireless is proud to announce the new Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan. Now you'll get unlimited calls to your best buddy, your mom, or Cindy, once she realizes that you're seriously meant for each other and should stop screening your calls. Now the 30 minutes of agonizing silence where you're both afraid to hang up may drain your battery, but it won't drain your wallet. And you'll get unlimited calls just to check if she still cares enough to pick up, with no extra charges. With the Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, your phone will automatically answer calls from your ex, because maybe she finally realizes that you're the only one for her and wants to get coffee sometime. Now, after lonely nights of looking at pictures of the road trip you took together when everything was great, your misspelled texts are absolutely free. The only thing you have to pay for is the booze. The Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, because she wants you back. She just doesn't know it yet.
When you can't find anything to watch on cable, you get bored. When you get bored, you listen to radio cooking shows. When you listen to radio cooking shows, you invite a friend over for dinner. When you invite a friend over for dinner, you use twice as many beans. When you use twice as many beans, you expel deadly farts that kill your friend's dog. When you kill your friend's dog, your friend becomes unstable. When your friend becomes unstable, you're sued for everything you're worth. When you're sued for everything you're worth, you're thrown to the streets. When you're thrown to the streets, you devote your life to world domination. When you devote your life to world domination, you become an evil fascist overlord. When you become an evil fascist overlord, old friends plot their revenge. When old friends plot their revenge, you are shot in the back of the head. And when you're shot in the back of the head, you miss your jazzercise appointment. Don't miss your jazzercise appointment. Upgrade to Indirect TV. Go online or call 1-800-IRECT-TV.
Millions of Americans every day are shedding unwanted pounds by taking tested and proven Ultra-Lipo Stick. Carbohydrates are bad. Our carbo-fighting antioxidant is good. Just listen to these satisfied customers.
My name is Gail, and I lost like 20 pounds on Ultra-Lipo Stick.
My name is Jared, and I lost 46 pounds using Ultra-Lipo Stick.
My name is Zach, and I actually gained weight. This stuff sucks!
Ultra-Lipo Stick is safe and easy to inject. Just 3 doses 4 times a day discreetly underneath your fingernail. Listen to this.
I used Ultra-Lipo Stick and suffered from side effects like uncontrollable greasy discharge.
Ultra Lipostick, it turned the armpits of all of my shirts orange. This stuff is crap.
Try it today and see some real results. Ultra Lipo Stick. Not available in stores. Results may vary.
Most politically incorrect black man on the planet, Rod Eccles.
I think that even if you had, some other people out there that maybe aren't looking to run for president, well, Sarah Palin isn't looking to run, but throw them on a ticket too, and you'll garner a lot of additional support. And I know that if you had Ben Carson and Alan West on the ticket, that would be, a coup d'etat for a lot of people, and that's not a bad idea. Ben Carson as Health and Human Services Secretary, not a bad idea for Alan West to be VP. Although I don't think he'd probably accept. But if we came to him and said this is for the good of your country, Mr. West, then he probably and just. Look, can you imagine? He could do a couple of political commercials with a play on Alan West's name. Remember the old TV series and the movie starring Will Smith? The TV series didn't star Will Smith, but the movie did. Wild Wild West. We get some good stuff in there with Alan West. Being like James West. My name's West, Alan West. In Wild Wild West. Welcome back. I am your lovable host, El Rod. You are listening to the Rod Eccles Show. And I am coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, where the state motto is still, and I check every day as I check today, it is still live free or die. It is not big government or bust. It is Monday, April the 20th in the year of our Lord 2015. As we begin our week here, it's Patriots Week, actually here in Massachusetts, down in Massachusetts, and the Boston Marathon was run today with no apparent major incidences. So that's a good thing, and a lot of people are feeling a lot safer, even though they may not be actually in reality safer. But at least they're feeling it, and that's what liberals like to do. They like to feel things instead of actually have things to be factual. But here's something that looks to be factual. Now, I don't know how many. Well, I don't think there's going to be many Republicans or conservatives that are happy about this. But Senator Graham, he says that there is a 91% chance I'm taking the plunge in 2016. Now, I don't know why. Why is it 91%? Is he he's being a little facetious there, But, 91%. But the context in it is probably a little important here, and this is something that so says townhall.com. Now, according to Fox News Sunday anchor Chris Wallace, prefaced his question about whether or not Lindsey Graham is running for president by reminding him that Carly Fiorina recently noted on his show that her chances of running were higher than 90%. Now, what's the percent chance that you're going to get in? Is what he asked the senator. 91%. I think I got a good message. I think I've been more right than wrong in foreign policy. I've been a problem solver in Washington, and I think I've got something to offer the party and the nation. I'll make the decision in May, and if I can raise the money, I'll do it. Now, does anybody really want Lindsey Graham? You know, I know he's a moderate Republican. You know, he's basically a rhino. But there's one thing about Lindsey Graham, that he's got this Southern gentleman charm about him. And that I kind of like. But at the same time, when I look at him and I listen to him and some of his ideas and policies, all I can think about is another Jimmy Carter. And the last thing we need is another Jimmy Carter in the White House, at least for a long, long time. You know, maybe 100 years from now, when the country is back on its feet, constitutional footing, we're strong militarily, economically, all that kind of stuff, maybe we can survive a Jimmy Carter again in 100 years. But not now. Am I the only one who thinks that? Now, Jimmy Carter was, you know, he wasn't a Southern hayseed, but he didn't come off as being that much of a Southern gentleman because he was a farm boy. But there was a little bit of Southern air about him that, you know, the people kind of liked, which helped him win the White House. And I think that, you know, that Lindsey Graham has the same type of thing. Same type of air around him, but he's got a lot more history than Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter was just a governor. You know, he was Georgia's governor for a while. You know, much like Bill Clinton, but Bill Clinton had no Southern sophistication about him whatsoever. Jimmy Carter had a little bit, and Lindsey Graham has got a little bit more than Carter. And you know that unfortunately that might be of benefit to him in winning the White House, but I don't think we need another. We don't need another good old boy Southerner in the White House yet. Yeah, look, you know, I'm just saying. I'm not trying to, you know, be down on south of the Mason-Dixon line, which I really don't think Florida is a part of. Although Florida is south, but Florida is just not a part of that original Southern mix. Because most people in Florida, I know most people in Florida are not originally from Florida, but most Floridians do not have that Southern drawl or any type of Southern. No, Northern Florida, I guess they do, but for the most part, most Floridians do not. I have not heard them. Most of the Floridians I have heard do not have that Southern twang, Southern drawl, Southern accent, however you want to call it. And Lindsey Graham, he's got that very Southern gentleman type of accent, you know, kind of like you know, the Dixie Carter Designing Women Atlanta type of thing. And yeah, can you imagine? Jimmy Carter was once the governor of the state that has Atlanta in it, and well, you know, hey, Georgia survived, and just as Arkansas barely survived Clinton, but you can't do state policies on a nationwide level. It's not the same. And Graham has just been a senator for too long, but 91%. So in other words, he's 1% more sure than Carly Fiorina that he's going to. Well, I invite both of them to jump in the ring. Go ahead, jump in the ring. I think if he does, he'll be one of the first ones to drop out. At least I hope so. Because you know, I don't think that there are. I don't think we're going to see a lot of moderate support, which is probably going to be very difficult for Jeb Bush, because Jeb Bush has come out as this big, huge time moderate Republican. And I think Republicans or conservatives are they're more than fed up with rhinos, and there's no base for Jeb right now. And again, that's not a bad thing. Also on townhall.com, polls say that Rubio is on the rise among GOP voters, and he leads Hillary in Florida. Now, wait a minute. I thought Hillary was this unbeatable juggernaut. She was gonna cruise to a win because, you know, it's her turn. It's her turn to be, you know, for a shot at the presidency. You know, it's her turn to be president. It's her. She's deserved it. She's earned it. You know, she's done a lot of lying and backstabbing and all that other wonderful political stuff to gain and keep power. She's done it all. Murder? Well, there is no evidence that she's directly behind anybody's death, but yeah, you could say that she's probably at least indirectly responsible for some people's death. So, yeah, you got the Benghazi thing, but again, that probably wasn't maybe it was on purpose. I don't know. There are conspiracy theorists out there that say that because of the ambassador, Anderson, that some say he was gay. I thought he was married to a woman, but some say he was gay. And again, I don't know if he was or bisexual. I don't know why you would put that type of a person in that type of an atmosphere, knowing that he would be probably why he was why his body was sodomized the way it was with a shovel handle or something or broomstick. Yeah, they really brutalized the man. But I guess that rumor could be factual, that he was at least bi. I don't know, maybe, but you don't send a gay or bisexual man into the heart of Islam country, country that hates gays and still wants to behead them and hang them. I mean, that was asking for something like this to happen, period. But even if that wasn't the case, he was just the wrong man for the job. Plain as, and anybody who probably knew the man, a lot of people said that he was the wrong man for the job, and they knew him. And even those that aren't saying that he was secretly gay, I don't know if he was or wasn't. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter except when it comes to dealing with people that you have no control over, which is radical Islamists. They're going to do what they're going to do. That's what difference it makes, Mrs. Clinton. It makes a big difference about how that man got there, what that man was doing. It makes all the difference in the world. So, what difference does it make? It makes a big, huge difference. Huge. So we don't repeat the same kind of mistake. I mean, one of the things that we're going to do is, we're going to try to sweep this under the rug and not learn anything from it so we can, do the same, have the same mistake again in the future with somebody else? And kill 4 more Americans or more? I mean, that doesn't make any sense. It makes a lot of difference. But Rubio is on the rise among GOP voters, and I think you're going to see, for strong contenders to the nomination crown, as it were, each time one of them gets in, you're going to see them bump in the polls, and as the campaign continues and the race continues, you start to see the leveling out and people finding their basal support. And right now, Rubio is on the top. He's on top of his game. He's the newest person in the race, and we'll see where he goes. I like the guy. I mean, you gotta look at it this way. Much like people thought of Clinton as being good looking, I don't really see it, but okay. And as much as people think that Barack Obama, when he was running the first time, was good looking, now he's looking a little bit older and haggard. It's what the presidency does to you. Except for George Bush, kind of looked the same, except for grayer hair. George W. Bush. But Rubio is, he's a good looking guy. I mean, women, fawn over this man. I mean, I hear all kinds of things about about how good looking Rubio is, and some women are saying, yeah, if he was president, I'd pay more attention to politics, and things like that. Hey, look, if you got the looks, use them. And Rubio's wife is a beautiful woman. She'd make a fantastic looking first lady, especially considering how many on the right and the left, I might add, really don't think Michelle Obama is a good looking woman. Now, I don't think that she's ugly. Hillary Clinton is far ghastlier than Michelle Obama. But that's just my opinion. Now, would I date Michelle if would I want to date her if she was single and I saw her and I wanted? No, absolutely not. She's definitely not my type. Even before knowing her personality, which really sucks, but she's still not my type. I wouldn't look twice at her. But I don't think she's an orangutan, as some people might say. She's not that hideous. And we've had some hideous first ladies. Eleanor Roosevelt. Wow. And it's not, look, you're born with the looks that you got. But if If FDR were running today, Mrs. FDR would be a great liability. She really would. But evidently, other than that, having a not so pretty first lady is not a big hindrance because, hey, Clinton got elected twice, and I don't think Hillary was ever a looker. And Obama, Mrs. Obama, evidently is to many people is not a looker. Laura Bush was pretty, but and then you had George Herbert Walker Bush, Mr. and Mrs. George Herbert Walker Bush, and she was just she was grandmotherly. You just had to love her. I mean, she had class, she had dignity, but no, she wasn't. Obviously she wasn't, because most people don't think of their grandmother as being pretty. Now, back in her younger days, she was a good-looking woman, but when when they were in office, she was kind of like the grandmother. Now, I guess some people can say Nancy Reagan wasn't a looker either, and I'll have to agree. But hey, I don't think I think Rubio's wife would be a huge. Think of it this way: if you're looking at, you can look at the Rubio campaign as being part House of Cards, because in House of Cards you have the president and you get Francis, and you have Underwood, and you have Claire Underwood. Now, Claire is a pretty woman. And, her character has charm and grace and wit, and she's just fantastic. And that's a great asset. And I think that's Rubio's wife. And I think she's going to be a very pivotal part of his campaign. He's going to put her out there as much as she's comfortable with being out there. And that's not a bad thing either. Just saying. But overall, 17% of Republicans and Republican-leaning independents back Bush for the GOP nomination, while 12% support Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker. Paul and Rubio each stand at 11% each, with former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee at 9% and Cruz at 7%. Now, on one metric, however, Bush has an emerging challenger, while 18% see Bush as the candidate who best represents the future of the Republican Party, which is not true. The same share say fellow Floridian Rubio is the best representation of the GOP's future. Now, that's troubling for the blue bloods of the Republican Party, because no way in hell can you be. Now, this is why polls, you have to really look at them. I don't put trust in polls, but when they're out there, they can't tell you a story. And the story here is that overall, 17% of Republicans and Republican-leaning independents back Bush for the GOP nomination. However, 18% see Bush as the candidate who best represents the future of the Republican Party, but 18% also view Rubio as the best representation of the GOP future. And what you have now is you have old guard liberal rhino blue blood GOPs versus true general opposition conservatives. They're on the rise. Conservatism in this country is on the rise. And we can see that with people jumping into the race like Rand Paul, and like Ted Cruz, and now Marco Rubio. And while Bush and some of the other blue blood, namby-pamby rhino Republicans have yet to announce, we've already got the three staunch conservatives already in, and they're already spouting strong conservative values that's waking up the base. They're liking, the base is liking their message. So, and you're finding out that independents out there, voters who are independent, they're liking the message from those three. So it's going to be tough for a rhino candidate to stay out for very long, because it's going to be a tough battle. I mean, we're looking at probably, one of the largest fields of serious contenders that we've had in quite some time. Look, I think so far all three of these guys are contenders. I do not believe Rand Paul has a chance of getting the nomination, but he's a contender. But in the end, he doesn't have it. He's not gonna get it. Now, Cruz, he's a wild card. Rubio, I think, has a better chance. But look, and again, I'm not endorsing any of these people. And I'm not discarding any of these people. I know people are going to be probably saying, well, how can you discount Rand Paul? I'm looking at the metrics already. And it doesn't mean that they can't change, because we got a long way to go before, this thing wraps up into for the nominating process. So you got a lot, and there are a lot more people that are going to be getting in. So, I mean, we could see a move for Rand. Rand could, he could make a move. It depends on, there are a lot of factors that one has to take into consideration, just things that we cannot predict. I'm sorry, I cannot predict the future. I'm sorry about that. I wish I could, but I can't. I can't tell if there's going to be a major incident and what kind. Well, of course there will be a national and worldwide event. I don't know what they're going to be. I don't know where they're going to be. I don't know when they're going to be. I can just say that there probably will be a national and international major event between now and the GOP convention. I mean, that's just the way the world works. It would be silly to say that there's not going to be a major event. I mean, there's already fires all over the place, especially in the Middle East, and this administration is not working to put out those fires very well. So who knows? And look, I know people are saying, they're probably saying, well, you're not helping it all, Rod. You're not bringing this into perspective for us. Yeah, it is. Yes, I am. But you got to pay attention, and you got to be with me for the long haul on this. As we go, because we don't know everything that they're going to say. We don't know their full platforms yet. That is going to have a huge impact on their support. As well as who else decides to get in, because there are people on the fence still. Lindsey Graham is on the fence, and Carly Fiorina is on the fence, and Jeb Bush hasn't jumped in yet. So, and there's other people like Chris Christie, and even people that said that they weren't going to run. They might be convinced to do some kind of run, maybe be put on somebody's ticket, like Alan West and Sarah Palin, and we know Ben Carson is supposed to be making some sort of announcement on May 4th. First we go. So there's a lot more to happen yet before we can really start to figure out what the hell is going on with the GOP. Is there going to be a split? Is that split going to be able to be united? I think that if Hillary is nominated for the and I it's possible that she will be. I don't think her heart's really in it. Maybe it's just too early for her right now, but I don't think her heart's really in it. But I think she has to be in it. She has to be in it, and she has to appear like she's really trying for it. But I don't think her heart's in it. She wants it, but she wants it handed to her. And it's not going to be handed to her. And I think that she knows now that maybe she is stuck. There is too much out there that is damning to her. And she knows she's going to get punched left and right with it. She's going to take some serious body shots. So she's contemplating how the hell she can save some face and still end up without too much difficulty ending up in the White House. But I'm going to tell you, I don't think it's going to work out that easy for her this time. This is going to be worse than her and Obama. Don't doubt me.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. Call InventHelp today.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-352-1609. That's 1-800-352-1609.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method and to get your free report, go to 52security.com. That's the number 52security.com. 52security.com. Go to 52security.com.
Hurt or injured in a car accident? It can be hard to take the proper legal action after a car accident, but waiting can cost you more. The law requires car accident victims to assert claims promptly. You could lose out by simply waiting. Call 800-709-4667 right now to see what your claim could be worth when handled by a skilled attorney. With a lawyer fighting and speaking up for you, you could be entitled to a big cash award. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Now it's fast and easy to connect with the legal help you need after your car accident. Call 800-709-4667. The call is free, but you need to act now before time runs out on your claim. You need a lawyer to fight for you, protect you, and get you the compensation you need and deserve. Time's wasting. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Call now.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
You shouldn't have to pay to talk to the people closest to you, or the people who used to be. That's why Umbrella Wireless is proud to announce the new Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan. Now you'll get unlimited calls to your best buddy, your mom, or Cindy, once she realizes that you're seriously meant for each other and should stop screening your calls. Now the 30 minutes of agonizing silence where you're both afraid to hang up may drain your battery, but it won't drain your wallet. And you'll get unlimited calls just to check if she still cares enough to pick up, with no extra charges. With the Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, your phone will automatically answer calls from your ex, because maybe she finally realizes that you're the only one for her and wants to get coffee sometime. Now, after lonely nights of looking at pictures of the road trip you took together when everything was great, your misspelled texts are absolutely free. The only thing you have to pay for is the booze. The Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, because she wants you back. She just doesn't know it yet.
You know, there might be some other people out there that everybody's out there discounting that could jump in the race, that could change the whole landscape of the whole thing. And then we'll see, you know, what happens with that. Welcome back, folks, to the Rod Eccles Show. I am your lovable host, Elrod, coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio. Look, I took up a lot of time on stuff that I didn't want to take up a lot of time with, because there is tons of stuff here that I wanted to cover with you tonight. So there's some of it you're going to be back here tomorrow, because we're going to have to cover some of it again then. And by the way, tomorrow is right here on Spreaker at 8 p.m. Do not forget. We will not be on another network broadcasting live. We'll be right here on Spreaker. Well, some of you under the sound of my voice are currently listening live via another network, and that's because they're actually able to. We were able to work it so they could jip the program live. So wherever you're listening to the program live right now is where you can listen to it live tomorrow, 8 to 10 p.m. So I'm going to have to do a lot of station identity breaks or something so people know. But I don't know how I'm going to... Well, there are more stations coming, by the way, folks. And I really want to thank everybody for listening. And those of you who are finding me now on Spreaker, and the numbers are really... I'm really happy with them. And that's a good thing. That is a real good thing, as well as, you know, being heard. The listenership on other networks, I'm being told, is also increasing. So, hey... keep telling your friends and family out there. Let's instead of the Sprint plan, let's do the Rod plan. Friends and family, tell them all about the program. Bring them on over. Force them to listen, especially if they're a liberal. I really want to blow a liberal's mind. Don't forget to check out a couple of new blog posts over on rodeccles.net, RODECCLES.net. You'll get some show facts, show information, stuff that's been on the show over the past few days and well, since the beginning, and tonight's show, as well as some new posts over there, and as well as updates on where you can find my various articles being printed. I'm a extendedly published author, and that's a good thing. I know some people are out there saying, well, my goodness, this guy just is so full of himself, isn't he, honey? I mean, he's just so arrogant. Well, no, I'm just telling you if people like what I do, that is a great thing, and I am deeply moved and humbled by that. But, you know, look, it's not me. This is, you know, as Rush Limbaugh says, it's talent on loan from God, period, and that's the truth. We got some other stories here. You know, there's something that's gaining traction lately, and that is the quest to replace Andrew Jackson's picture on the $20 bill. Now, I've kind of stated, there have been people that have suggested, people like Harriet Tubman and things like that. They want a female on there, is what they keep saying. They're not looking at other males. They just want to remove, you know, old Hickory. But what really got me to talk about this tonight is that, speaking of Eleanor Roosevelt earlier, they've got a picture of the $20 bill mock-up with Eleanor Roosevelt on it. And I got to tell you, now some people are out there thinking, well, it's about time that we put some women on there. Now, see, no. And I'm not saying no just because they're women. See, the reason behind wanting to remove old Hickory, because it won't stop with Andrew Jackson. Guarantee. They'll go down, they'll want to remove Lincoln, then they'll eventually want to remove, you know, all the others. You know, Harrison. The reason is, well, and it isn't because Kennedy's not in any of our dollar bills, is he? No. Not any that we use. But the reason is, pretty much, they want to get rid of the founders. They want to get rid of those who are close to the founders. They want to get rid of those who sound like the founders. Plain and look, it's plain as day, folks. We're not even, the liberal left is not teaching our kids about the full scope and history of this country. In the beginnings of this country, we're not. I mean, you got kids growing up. They're 18 to 20 years old. They don't even know that George Washington was the first president. They think he was, as one girl put it during a question on the beach in Florida during spring break. I think he was the second president after Abraham Lincoln. So the notion is to screw the kids up on our history. Because if they can screw them up on our history, they can rewrite the history. And if they can rewrite the history, they can make it sound like they want it to sound. Don't doubt me on this. This is what the move is. Look, I know some people are saying, well, Rod, that's just going to take too long. Look, it has taken the left 50 years to get Obamacare. They're not the kind of type that sit around and wait for things. They will keep pressing, and they're patient enough to take a long-term view of this. So, no, this is not going to get traction from the American people today. Give it 10 years. They're starting it today, knowing that in 10 years they'll be able to get more traction. And in 20 years they may succeed. And in 30 years, and another 50 years, they will have succeeded in destroying the history of this country. And as Trevor Loudon so prophetically put, that if we allowed all these immigrants to become citizens, illegal immigrants to become citizens overnight, basically, it is going to be a fait accompli for the Republican Conservative Party. It'll be a one-party country. We'll be a banana republic. They will change our history, and they will change our system. They will even attempt to change the Constitution by any means possible. We will not be the same country within 50 years. Guaranteed you. And they're showing you what they want to do. I mean, what really? Roosevelt? What? There are many women out there. Why not put, Betsy Ross on? Oh, because Betsy Ross represents what? The founders. They're not going to put her on there. But hey, you put some strong women from history, from close to or around the time of the founders, and you're going to get a leftist that's saying, "Well, no, we don't want them on there." I mean, they're not good enough to be put on the bill or on the $20 bill. But I guess they're thinking that Eleanor Roosevelt is good enough. Here's a woman that helped start and got us into the United Nations. A complete and utter world failure. A group that hates the United States of America, basically. And I'm not talking about our allies, but pretty much, you see, a lot of the countries that are not our close allies, they're not America lovers, they're America haters. Hey, this is what she wanted to, because she believed, where the League of Nations failed, the United Nations can succeed. Yeah, that's what she said. Yeah, I don't know what succeed in tearing down and taking over the U.S. Now, I'm not going to say Eleanor Roosevelt was all about that, because this was obviously at a time when the United States we're just coming off of World War II, and we helped win it. We were victorious. That put us on top, but we were not yet the world superpower. I mean, we had the potential at that point. So, but there was no looking around saying, well, it's unfair that we won World War II. Nobody was saying that, not even the left. But as time went on, it's unfair that we've become so powerful and the rest of the world hasn't, and they haven't been able to keep track and keep up. It's just unfair that we feel for the rest of the world. How about you just feel for the United States for a change? Look, I love all of God's children on this planet, but how about you just take care of your own for a change? How about you think about them for a change? How about you stop trying to tear this country down and start rebuilding it and building it back up? There's nothing wrong with wanting to achieve greatness. Liberals, the liberal left, only wants to achieve mediocrity. They think striving for and achieving greatness is arrogance. And it's wrong because it makes others look bad. It makes them feel bad. I don't know if, countries like Belarus feel bad because the United States is, a world superpower, and they're not. I don't think any nation does. They may dislike us for that status, but I don't think they feel bad for themselves because they're not. Plain and simple, this whole notion of hatred for the U.S. stems from the United States liberal left. Plain and simple. I mean, they espouse it, they put it forth, and other people, from other lands, they can see, other governments can see it, and they say, look, you see, even you people don't even like you. Why should we like you? And and look, this is another example of us not liking us. Us not liking our history. Now all of a sudden we want to start changing the faces of our currency. Because the left hates our history. They do. They really hate it. They don't like the freedom that we have. Hey, New York City passes landmark legislation that bans credit checks for most job applicants. Yeah, I don't know if this has this been a problem for a lot of people? I haven't realized this. I didn't know that you could, that a lot of this was. I knew for certain positions or certain job roles, yeah, there was going to be security checks, criminal background checks, credit checks. I got that. There's some, but evidently it's a big thing, and it was so big that the New York City Council passed legislation that bans most employers from discriminating against job applicants and current workers based on credit history. So, if you're I don't know, if you're handling money of any kind from a customer, I guess you can have fraud in your credit report, and they're not going to know. So, and then you're going to hire this person because they look and sound great, and they're going to defraud a customer, and that customer is going to sue you. Not the employee that you hired, but you. All because you couldn't find out and head off a potential problem. I get why some employers do it. Now, are they a little bit too picky? Some of them, yes. But I get why they do it. And now you're taking away a means test for an employer. I'm sorry. Look, if you got bad credit, you got bad credit. Fix it. Well, you need a job in order to fix it. Well, maybe you just need to get a different job that isn't going to do a credit check. That's plain and simple. I mean, I get it. You want a chance. You need a chance, but I get it. I think you should have the opportunity to explain yourself, and and you really need to pay attention to your credit more. And look, I know there are people out there that don't like credit. They don't really have a credit history because they pay for things in cash. I've attempted to live my life more like that. So, if somebody were to pull mine, it'd be very minuscule. There wouldn't be a lot there. But what is there is good, but there's very little of it. I mean, some people just have a long history of it. Some of it's good, have long history of good. Some people have a mixed long history, and some people have a long history of bad. That's fine too. That's the way you want to live your life. But to tell an employer that you're taking away a tool for them to screen potential employees for a number of different reasons is just criminal in my mind. All because it's just terrible that they should look at this criteria because they have bad credit because they don't have a job. No, they probably already had a job when they got the bad credit. So it's. But that's New York City for you. New York City is signed legislation is going to say that employers you can't use this particular item to do a means test on a potential new employee. Here's something from watchdog.org. On the lines of Solyndra. Remember Solyndra, the solar panel manufacturing company that went belly up after it got its money from the federal government from Obama? And they weren't the only ones. But here's another interesting thing about, look, I've said that this alternative energy stuff, the technology may be there, but it's not working. And it's not working because government got involved in it too much. And the price hasn't really, it's starting to come down, but it hasn't come down a whole hell of a lot. And with some of these companies going under after getting government money, you got to wonder, does this stuff really work at all? Well, here's something. Surprise solar customers find themselves with liens on their properties, on their homes. Now, yes. Solar City is a solar installation company in Northern California. And this comes out of Northern California. Jeff Lead says installing Solar City's panels on the roof of his home in Northern California city of El Granada was the sorriest day of his life. Now, he's probably a good, down-home, touchy-feely liberal who felt absolutely great that he was getting these solar panels put on his roof to save the planet. However, agreeing to the company's 20-year lease, because they're so darn expensive, I guess, he had to lease the panels, he said was like partnering with the devil. He says he has endured skyrocketing electric bills, installation of an inferior system, and contract violations because Solar City refuses to clean the panels or provide a payment for his system's poor performance. Well, if he's got a roof of these things, how is his electric bill going through the roof? I mean, he's leasing these things, but are they charging him for the power that's being generated? I'm not quite clear on that one, but now the latest surprise, a notice from his bank telling him that Solar City had placed a lien on his home and that his equity line of credit application could not proceed until the lien was removed. He says, I was totally surprised by this and very pissed off. When I talked to the bank, they told me it was a lien. I had to pay the bank a $48 fee for lien removal. They held me up for my closing and to buy a vacation home. So, liberal going out there buying a vacation home, well, that's a no-no. So, but he basically says, Solar City says that it is not a lien, but a fixture filing that stakes the company's claim to the panels which it owns if consumers have taken part in its popular lease program. Now, owning the solar electricity generating system allows Solar City to claim lucrative state and federal subsidies available only to system owners. Now, Solar City has received approximately $500 million in tax subsidies and grants over the years. And they're turning around and putting liens on their customers' homes. So, you know what a difficulty that is going to present if a customer tries to go and sell their home? They can't sell it with a lien on it. It's not possible. Law won't allow it. Banks won't allow it. Any kind of lien, you've got to cure the lien. And now, I know some people are going to focus in on the fact that, well, the bank says they're going to charge $48 to remove that lien. Man, they're just out to get the homeowner, man. They're out to rob his pockets, man, and rob his bank account, man. It's the big banks, man. They're just evil. Well, bank had really nothing to do with it. True, it might seem a little flagrant to ask for $48 to remove something that probably shouldn't be there in the first place. But who put it there? The liberal, touchy-feely solar panel company, Solar City. They're the ones that put it on. Put the lien on. They're the ones saying, well, you can be all touchy-feely green like we are if you want to, but we're all about the money, Jack. I thought liberals weren't about the money. I thought all this environmental stuff wasn't about the money. Evidently it is, because they're getting a hell of a lot of it. And they're getting it from you and me, the taxpayer. But if Solar City were Oil City, you'd have the left all over them about this. And we're all the tax subsidies that the government is giving the oil companies. Well, how about all the tax subsidies that the country is giving solar companies? And many of them are going under. even with the subsidies. How do you fail when you have the government propping you up? I mean, there really isn't a market then. If you cannot make a go of it in a business with the government propping you up, then there truly is no market for your product or service. Plain and simple. I mean, if the government has to prop you up in order for you to stay in business, there probably isn't a market anyway. But even if you cannot make it with a government prop up, there definitely really is no market for your product or service. And if these solar panels are that expensive, there's no market for them. And there's no incentive for them to bring the cost down if we keep propping them up. You get my point? I mean, if Solar City is getting $500,000 or $500 million in tax subsidies and grants, where's the incentive to start bringing the cost of the panels down so people aren't leasing them but can buy them? There is no incentive for that. None. So they're going to continue doing the same thing that they've always done. And no, that's not a good thing. It is not a good thing. It's not a good thing. Well, it is what it is, folks. It really is. And I am out of time for today. We'll be back here tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel. Don't forget, tomorrow, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. on whatever channel or station that you are currently listening to this program live right now. We will be back here on that same network talking to you live. Don't doubt me. We'll be back. They can't get rid of me yet. See you then, folks.